The big difference that I have seen working all over the world between people is that a small number of people, like yourself, are active. They take action to achieve their goals. But the majority of people are passive. They wait for someone else to come along and solve their problems. They are waiting for a bus on a street where no buses go. They keep waiting for the bus, and the bus never comes. They keep waiting for someone else to come and improve their lives, but not you. You are the elite. You're the top 10%. You are proactive. You make things happen. You don't wait for things to happen. Well, let me tell you about myself just a minute. I started off from a poor family. We did not have very much money. My father and mother did not always have jobs. From the time I was 10 years old, I worked in the neighborhood to earn my own money, to pay for my own clothes, and I never took money from my parents again from the age of 10. I did not graduate from high school. I finished in the half of the class that makes the top half possible. They say that everybody is good for something, even if it's only to be a bad example. And I was a bad example. So when I left school, the only job that I could get was washing dishes in the back of a small hotel. And when I lost that job, I got a job washing cars with a car company. And when I lost that job, I got a job washing floors with a janitorial service. I thought that washing was going to be in my future, but it was a downhill trend. So when I lost those jobs, and lost, when you say I lost a job, when you're young, it means that you got fired. When I got fired from these jobs, I would go to the next job. I used to live in my car at one time because I didn't have a place to live. I would work in factories, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes overnight. I worked in sawmills and lumber mills in the mountains. I worked in construction labor. I worked on farms and ranches. I worked on a ship. in the North Atlantic. I did laboring jobs for many years. How many people here are in sales? Okay, well, that's what I got into when I couldn't get a laboring job as well. So I know where you're coming from. So I got into sales, and I didn't know how to sell. They told me that all you have to do is talk to enough people and you'll be successful. Well, I wasn't afraid to work. So I went and began talking to people, but nobody bought anything. So I would talk to more people, and still nobody bought anything. So I began to run from place to place. So I could be rejected more often. And I did this for about 6 months, going around in circles. And every so often, occasionally, I would make a sale, which was just enough to stay alive. Then one day I did something that changed my life, and it brought us here together. I went to the top salesman in my company. He was selling 10 times as much as anybody else. And I asked him, "What are you doing differently from me?" And he said, "Well, let me see if I can help you." He said, "Show me your sales presentation." I said, "What's a sales presentation?" He said, "Well, it's a logical and orderly way of selling your product." And I said, you mean there is a logical and orderly way of selling?" And he said, "Yes," and he showed me a logical, orderly way. Which I'll explain to you a little bit later. And so I began to sell in a logical way. It's very much like phoning with a telephone. If I ask you for your phone number and I say I will call you later, and you give me your number, well, then I can take out my phone. They provide these phones in the hotel. I could take out my phone anyway, and if I know your number, I can put in your number. I can put in your number, and The phone will ring and you'll answer the phone. Now, if I give your number to someone else, they can phone you. As long as you have the right phone number, you can get through to the person. But what if I said to you, I will phone you later this week? And you said yes, and I said goodbye. And you say, well, don't you want my number? I say, no, it's no problem. I will find out your number by pushing the buttons. And so I'll just push your number and say, are you there? No? Well, I'll just push some more buttons. How long would it take me to get through to a person if I just pushed the buttons randomly? Probably my whole life. Probably never. But if I had the right numbers in the right order, I could get through immediately. If you sell in the right order, if you do anything in the right proper sequence, you make far better results than if you just do it randomly. So he showed me how to sell systematically.